if you need recording access, and we will give that to you. And please use the chat to queue up for any questions for Marc today. To start, Marc, maybe just tell us how the team is feeling this week in training after a big win in the first game on the weekend.
They're feeling good. They're feeling, we had a big week still today. This week, with a lot of things happening. We're still in an adaptation process until we get some things out of our way and organizing everybody being together. So I feel there was a lot of happening in the last 3 days, but when we had to train and do our job in training, everybody was good and everybody was involved. We don't get too high with these moments. We won a game. We won an important game against Portland, a game that we wanted to win, but then we have to forget it quickly and start thinking about Toronto.
All right, we'll go to Michael.
Hey, Marc, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Michael, and you?
Very good. We got a chance to speak to Bruno and Caio yesterday. It came across as a couple of guys that really want to be here, really looking forward to what lies in store for them. What have you seen from them so far in training, and how far away do you think they are before you might see them involved, maybe not as starters, but in some capacity in matches?
Look, how they looked. I'm not surprised when we make so much work on our recruitment side to bring players and then see their characteristics, because we looked at them a lot. Bruno is incredibly comfortable on the ball, offensive-minded, possession-oriented player, knows the role very well on the
Just be a minute here as we get reconnected. You just need them to log off of Zoom and come back in. Just be a minute.
Am I good now? No, I don't know what part you heard, Michael, but they struggled with the first 2 days physically. They said the altitude, hydration, they're still in the process of getting used to everything, but today looked better, and today they looked good, both of them. So we have to be careful with the process. When you want to speed up players too fast, then an injury could occur, and instead of being patient one more week, you lose them for months. We don't want to do that. But do we think there's a possibility of them traveling to Orlando this weekend? Yes, but with a lot of communication and with work with our performance team, we'll know exactly when's the right time to have them in. We want to speed up the process, but at the same time, be careful with it.
I guess touching on that then, you're heading off to Orlando. It seemed really hot there last weekend. There was a lot of hydration breaks in the games that took place there. Obviously, you got a lot out of your players on Sunday. It's a shorter turnaround. There's the travel. But the way that Montreal played that game, on the front foot, pressing from the start, it seems certainly the kind of game that plays into how you play. What did you make of that Montreal TFC game? I know you don't want to give too much away of what you maybe learned the TFC's weaknesses, but it didn't look like a TFC team that you might get this week, because I think they probably learned a lot from that.
Michael, your question is fair. and I would love to answer with so many details, but just forgive me and understand me if I'm not gonna do that. I'll say this: I watched Toronto against Montreal, but I also watched Toronto against Leon. And not long ago, everybody was praising how they knocked out Leon and how the young players of Toronto did well. And we live in a sport that people forget really fast. You know, you're good today, you're bad tomorrow, and it's a roller coaster. So I don't focus on the game Toronto-Montreal. I don't focus on the game Toronto-Leon. I watched all of them. But where we focused on is the strengths and weaknesses of Toronto and our strengths as a team and what we have to do as a team. And the game against Montreal could repeat itself, but or not. And the reality is that every game's different, every 90 minutes different. We're playing a team again, like we did against Portland, a team that is in Champions League, a team that qualified for the quarterfinals of Champions League, a team that won the MLS Cup not long ago, a team that won the Canadian Championship. So, you know, we did watch the game against Montreal, but we tried to look at more than one game to evaluate what a team does. When it comes to the hydration break and the humidity in Orlando, that's hard. That's hard. That's a fact. That's not easy to cope with. Of course, they have an advantage in that because they're always training over there and they understand that part. But again, slowly we're getting everybody. We have 5 substitutions. It's a game that we want to win. We want to come back here with 6 points and play the next two home games in Salt Lake with the 6 points. We want to build on what we've done against Portland, but we know how hard it is, and we know when a team has a tough day, they address things, and I'm sure it's not going to be the same team.
Thanks, Mark. Safe travels and good luck at the weekend.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Michael. We'll go to Neil now.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark, for taking the time today. 2 questions, if I may. One, can you update us on the status of Ali Adnan?
Yeah, Ali Adnan, it's still a visa issue, and we're still waiting. And I could only tell you we're waiting. It's totally out of our control. It's a government thing, and that's the only thing I could tell you right now. Ali is training with a small group in Vancouver that includes some of our academy kids, with Vanni Sartini helping in that part. But of course, that when you're not in our environment for weeks, don't expect Ali to arrive here and play right away. He's going to be far from it, and it's going to take a process with him also.
And secondly, I know it's a small sample size with Toronto under Chris Armas, but do you see anything different in the Toronto FC press under Armas than other teams that you've played?
Neil, I see a lot of Red Bull, a lot. I see a lot of Red Bull. I see a lot of the ideas that Chris learned at Red Bull, and he's trying to implement it in Toronto. He's working on it in Toronto, and it's very clear what he wants to do there. So there's no doubt in my head what type of team we're going to face.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Neil. We'll go to Jay.
Mark, good afternoon. It's nice to see you. Congratulations on the win last week, and that was nice to see. With what you now have, and I know you mentioned that we're still a while before we'll probably see your newcomers, but are you very comfortable? Are you happy with what's starting to form with your squad, even after just one match?
I'm happy that I feel that anybody that is called to play is putting everything that they have, and they're committed to how we want to play. And that's what I'm the most happy with. Now we're still in a process. That game against Portland was our second maybe real game that we played this year, you know, and and it was far from being a perfect game. When we look at it again, we did a lot of good things. We had a good mindset. We did the majority of the things right, but still a lot of things to improve. We rushed in possession. We were sometimes too vertical, sometimes not easy to get out of pressure for us, but then other things that were very positive. So I think there's still work to do. So am I pleased? Of course, I'm pleased that we could use the guys that are available and still answer in a positive way. And then I'm also pleased because when I see our margin to progress, the guys that are out, the guys that could come in and help improve the team where we want to be, where the recruitment staff is still looking for a player that could have an important role. When I look at how much we could grow, that's what gives me security and makes me happy.
Marc, I want to get your perspective of the last 72 hours in the soccer world, because for me, as a fan of sport, what transpired with the proposed Super League, I think it just reinstated the power of sport and the power of supporters, and that no one team is bigger than the sport itself. How much were you captivated by what's transpired, and can I get your perspective on it all?
Yeah, I grew up in soccer in Europe. So I'm born in Montreal, but at the age of 9, my parents moved to Portugal, and I moved to Portugal, and I grew up there. And the culture towards the game and the culture that the game has in Europe is very different. And I felt that if you want to try to create a sort of a NBA or type of kind of a North American model in Europe, it's not going to work. You have to deserve in Europe. Small teams qualify to Champions League. The dream is there all the time. The dream of small teams achieving things. But I think what was going on is a little bit of a reflection of our society too. A society that is money driven, a society that sometimes the rich try to get richer and we forget about the people that have other type of needs. Me, I'm against the Super League. I'm glad that that the Super League felt pressure and a lot of people came out, and even I listened to an owner apologize, and hopefully many owners understood that soccer in Europe is 100 years, more than 100 years old. There's a culture around the game. And if you want to get to a super status, you have to deserve it. And calling it a super league, you have to deserve to be in the super status that is Champions League. And I'm glad the things unfold. Somebody in Spain said something very well. A reporter in Spain said that it looked like the First World War in soccer, in the soccer world. And I think it looked like that. And I'm glad that it looks like nothing's going to happen with the Super League right now.
Thanks for that. One final thing, Marc. I know you guys got your vaccinations yesterday. How's everybody doing, and how's everyone feeling?
I don't know about do you want to ask me the question?
Yeah. How are you feeling?
I
Did you get
good.
the jab?
I feel good. I feel my arm just soared, like if you lift weights at the gym, but that's all. I'm good. I feel good. I feel good.
Excellent. Thanks, Marc. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. We'll go to Alex.
Hey, Marc, hope you're well. I guess Michael and Neil sort of asked you about it a bit, but just kind of to follow up about the TFC press. Obviously, you got to play them at 3 o'clock local time in the Orlando humidity. It's not ideal. So how do you prepare for those kinds of the intensity their press offers in such conditions?
Yeah, look, you can't recreate the humidity here in Salt Lake. That's a reality. You can't build a soccer field inside a sauna. The reality is that you train in Salt Lake and the weather is different. But what we do is we try to limit the times that they drink water today during the training sessions. So we limit that a lot. And those are the little things we could do, but it's really hard to recreate the type of atmosphere or humidity that we're going to find at 3 o'clock. The good news is that 3 o'clock over there is 1 o'clock here in Salt Lake. So we're still alert. We're still fresh, still ready to go. I think the 5 subs are going to matter. I think the 5 subs in this game are going to be important, and we have to be ready to use it because the type of weather, when Montreal played the Toronto, they're both in Florida. They're both used to the same type of weather. Now we're not, and we're going to have to make sure that we're smart dealing with the different phases of the game.
And just another one for me. Last week, you mentioned that Eric Godoy was supposed to start training and that Derek Cornelius wasn't far away. Have they started training? If they have, how are they looking after the injury?
Derek trained, and Derek trained normally, but at the end of training, he still felt a little bit, but it's already a good news that Derek trained fully, and we just have to follow day by day how he's responding to training. As for Eric, no, he's still doing work on the side. We're still evaluating when he's going to come fully with the team.
Thanks, Marc.
Thanks.
Thank you, Alex. Now to Har.
Hey, Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Har. How are you?
I'm doing good as well. With a winning lineup last weekend, how do you manage kind of making lineup changes and tinkering and kind of not doing too much with how well the team played?
I don't want to be saying too much regarding our lineup. It's for sure that there was a good performance, and it doesn't change the options that we have. Right now, we have very similar options than we had in the last game. So that's where we're at with our lineup. Now we're looking at players like Caio and Bruno to slowly get integrated with the team, but that doesn't mean they're going to start. Far from there. I think that the guys that played did a good job, and that's going to be taken into account. That's for sure.
I was wondering if you've maybe emphasized to the guys how important it is to play and get results on the road. We saw last year the team struggled immensely when they were away from Portland. Have you kind of talked about playing on the road and the mentality?
We won a lot of games on the road last year. A lot. We never played in Vancouver. We won a lot on the road. We beat LAFC in Portland. We beat Salt Lake in Portland. We beat San Jose in Portland. We were never home. So for me to play in Portland or in Salt Lake, I don't consider that home. That's number one. Number two, the in and out is difficult. But the most important thing is that you get points on the road. And it's not only easy for the Vancouver Whitecaps, it's very difficult for every team in MLS that do the in and out and try to get results away. It's not easy. We prefer when we're able to sleep at least one night in the city where we're playing. That's going to be the fact against Toronto. We'll be able to sleep there the night before the game in Orlando. But the games that are in and out are hard, are physically hard, are demanding, and we know that we have to get some points on the road for sure.
Finally, do you have an update on Toss Ricketts? How is he doing? Could he play on the weekend?
Toss is still a question mark. He's still doing some work on the side in recovery from injury. It's still a possibility for Toronto, but I think we'll know much more tomorrow how he reacts to training.
Thank you, Har. We'll go to Corey.
Hey, Marc, thanks for joining us again, as always. Obviously, fantastic start to the season. Cavallini, who gets his goal, and he was showing a lot of raw emotion. He drop kicked the microphone. He had some good sound bites in the post-match presser, and it sounded like he was really looking forward to this derby against Toronto, obviously being from there. And just going back to last season, I think we saw the most emotion we saw from Cava in that Canadian mini series. Do you think we can expect some more of that coming up here against TFC?
I don't think only from Cava. I think that a lot of our Canadian players that are at the national team with the Canadian players of Toronto, they share this pride and ego about going to the Canadian camp, saying that they beat one or each other, right? So there's that pride when it comes to play Toronto and Montreal, and understanding that we're playing teams from our country and we want to be the best one in our country. So I think those emotions are always there, not only against Toronto, but also against Montreal.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Mark. Enjoy the rest
Thank
of
you
your day.
very much. Thank you. Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
guys.